So all that being said, we did have an interesting dissent from Tim Dillon, who has been, one of the comedians who was in the, Trump-aligned sphere, important for their election this time around. And he's been increasingly critical of some of the actions that have been taken by this administration, Iran being no exception. Let's take a listen.
Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the UK, just like Ukraine is on behalf of the Western Europe against Russia. We have to get serious.
Stop it right there. Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the United Kingdom? Is that the most insane thing anyone's ever heard? Are people right now in the United Kingdom, is their biggest problem Iran? What is this woman speaking of? What is she talking about? What is anyone talking? Is Iran the reason that no one can afford a house? Is Iran the reason that there's fentanyl everywhere? Is Iran the reason that we've got political corruption? Is Russia the reason? Is Iran the reason that we have 12 people that own everything in this country? Is Iran the reason that we have, an epidemic of poisoned food that's killing people and children? And is Iran the reason for any of this? Is Iran the reason that corporations in America just pillage and leave a trail of death and destruction in their wake? Can you imagine knocking on the door of a double-wide trailer and grabbing a person who is 5 months away from being homeless in our country and asking them their biggest problem? How do you think the word Iran is going to come up much?
Amen. But Saagar, there is going to be a massive media effort to convince people that actually Iran is their biggest problem and this is what they should be focused on.
Yeah, of course. And, we'll watch this all continue. This is actually a good test as well as, there was a lot of talk about the podcast election and new media and all this. I can only speak from my own just general assessment. I don't think a lot of the MAGA podcasts, they're not MAGA podcast. They're branded that way by the media, but whatever. That I don't think a lot of those people would necessarily go along with this. I could be wrong, of course, but there will be, a good pop culture test as to how this is all going to play out. But broadly, what Tim is getting at is that, look, America first. Yes, operationally, it is whatever Trump means. We talked about that earlier, but it's a potent idea. And look, it's been smeared for almost a century now, but there is a reason that term arose, because hundreds of thousands of Americans were shipped to Europe and killed in the trenches of France. For what exactly? To this day, there's a good argument about it. And then we didn't even pass, the treaty, the 14 points Treaty of Versailles and the League of Nations. Like, it was a huge waste. That was a general democratic uprising movement. In the same way, the 2016 could probably be considered that, of saying out loud, this was a disaster. We were sent off for nothing, and it has nothing to do with improving our own lives. And that's why it's offensive for Trump to say that it's about him. And it's up for the taking. It's a real idea. It's something that, is at the heart for a lot of us. So, look, I hope to see more from this, like from Tim, from Bill Burr, from Rogan, from any of these guys to be able to speak out against this, because they do have cultural power. They do have the ability, to sway or at least highlight public opinion, and others, because at this point, that could be all that saves us. And I will be honest, I don't even think that could save us, just because of how captured Washington is by these neoconservative men. I mean, we have the Democratic leader of the House, of the Senate, the Democratic leader of the Senate, who's supporting the war with Israel, basically talking out of both sides.
He was goading Trump into the war.
Yeah,
he was
he's
like,
calling him
Taco Trump won't really go to war with Iran.
Democratic leadership is asking for this. They are supporting it. We have the entire establishments. Mike Johnson, pray for Israel. We are totally captured at this point on the question of Israel's war with Iran. And so, look, the outside forces, this genuinely may be all we have got at this point.
Yeah.
And I want to set people's expectations. You're not going to win for a while. It took, 06, the 06 midterm elections for the anti-war voices to really be heard. And to be honest, they didn't really do what they were supposed to do. The surge ended up happening in 07 and all of that. Yeah. And it took really 4 years till the apotheosis of the Obama campaign.
Yeah.
He screwed it up too. So also be a lesson. Don't be trusting necessarily carnival barkers out there saying that they're anti-war. And then when they get in power, shocking, they change their tune.
It's why it's so important. Not that people can never change and learn lessons. But it's really important to see who was right about war when it was unpopular.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy, 10 years later to be like, oh, the Iraq War, that was bad.
Yeah.
At the time, when there was a cost to be paid, who said it was wrong at the time? And like I said, it's not that there can't be exceptions. People have changed their mind and really, come to realize, okay, that was absolutely foolish. But broadly, the people who were like, Iraq's a great idea, Ukraine's a great idea, and they only shift once public opinion changes and it's safe to do so, you should be very leery of those people. Now, in terms of the media landscape, yeah, the Democrats are just so utterly pathetic. I mean, I think they are wildly, on foreign policy, they are so at odds with the Democratic base.
For the taking.
They are so at odds with the Democratic base. And yeah, they are right for the taking. I mean, look at what's happening with Zoran in New York City, right? And he has a really quite dramatic, he's a BDS supporter and he's on the verge of potentially winning a New York City mayoral race. It shows you how ripe the rotten husk of the Democratic Party is for the taking if you had people who are willing to be aggressively anti-war, because that is where the base is. But the media organizations, they're going to be lockstep in support of Israel, in support of, hawkishness. They're going to be cheerleading for more and more and more escalation. And they still have significant purchase, not to mention that there is so many decades of propaganda convincing people that Iran should be a top concern, that, where they are in their weapons development should be something that's top of mind, should be something that's a predominant focus of U.S. policy and U.S. foreign policy specifically. That is still going to have some power. So it's really important to see people like Dave Smith, to see people like Tim Dillon, to see new media voices who can offer, a place for truly anti-war people to go, to feel like they are, they are heard, to feel like they're not crazy. And the larger that those non-establishment media figures are, and the more significant they are in our public discourse on this issue, the better we'll be. Although, obviously I've been there's a lot of limits there too. Some of the same problems, where you have just hack partisans in quote unquote independent media as well. And so you'll see plenty of that too. But yeah, it's good to see Tim. So much respect to Dave for going so hard.
Yeah, he went hard.
Saying Trump should be impeached. He said it previously.
He did.
True to his word. He said, listen, if Trump gets us involved in war in Iran, I will apologize for telling people to vote. And I didn't even have to ask him.
Yeah, that's right. He
just did it.
You got to give it. Look, there's going to be people like that, but also, as you said, there's the warning. There's a lot of so-called independent voices out there that are blithering away on the question, why are they always in Tel Aviv? How are these people always in Tel Aviv? It's amazing, isn't it? All of these free trips that they just happen to do. Oh, and it certainly doesn't inform their views at all. But watch out. There's a lot of dark money and stuff flowing out there as well. It's funny too, because the accusations they're always throwing is that we're bought or somebody else. When in reality, they have the murkiest finances.
Oh yeah.
With the whole, whatever that Russian deal.
Yeah, Tim Pool doesn't like when I talk about that.
Okay, but let's even leave Tim out of this. It's more like, how is your business set up? If your business is set up so you don't have any checks and balances, to have that amount of cash just flowing into your bank account and you're not asking any questions, you have a problem, because that's not about Russia. That's just broadly about your philosophy. You should know the level of checks and stuff here that happen before any money starts flowing anywhere. And most of the time you say no, because what? Because it's about independence, and there's a reason for that. So anyway, we'll see, because things are not trending in a good direction, but at least we're here. At least we're here to be able to do the show for all of you. So I do hope you guys can help support us, breakingpoints.com, just because this work that we have to do is probably more important than ever before. But we'll have a show for everybody tomorrow and the next day and the next day and more. We're going to continue working around the clock here to bring you all the news. So thank you all very much. We appreciate it. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.